Are you serious? Are you serious? Well, sometimes we need to know a few true facts about the CIA. Matter of fact, by their own admission, declassified documents have recently brought forth some very interesting things about the CIA. And I just did a video at Patreon where I really go in depth into some of those. But to give you an example, in 1962, the CIA tipped off the South African intelligence agencies, letting them know about the actual location of Nelson Mandela. And that led to his arrest, in which he was in prison for 27 years. See, the CIA is now admitting that happened. Also, the CIA was very concerned back in 1962 over the fact that there were soccer fields being made in Cuba, along the coast of Cuba. CIA noticed that and said, what's going on here? They knew that the Cubans played baseball. It's the Russians that play soccer. And so that led a CIA investigation, which led to the discovery of the Cuban Missile Crisis in September of 1962, when they spotted these soccer fields. Are you serious? Also, just so you'll know, according to more information we received here is, well, there was quite a few things. I'll give you one that I talk about in the Patreon video. The CIA hired a magician named John Mulholland. His job was to train agents about the sleight of hand, techniques to use that they could slip LSD into those people they were their counterparts or those they may be spying on into their drinks. He was hired to come in and teach the CIA agents how to move sleight of hand, magician tricks to slip drugs into people's drinks. CIA used that. So there's a lot of things they did. And then I did go into depth on one other key point here, and I think that would really help you to understand. This was in order to obtain vast amounts of titanium needed for the construction of that big black bird, that plane they made called the SR-71. The CIA created fake companies throughout the world to purchase the titanium metal from the biggest supplier in the world, which was at that time the USSR, Russia. And so what they did was they set up fake companies all over the world in different nations, and those companies were buying the titanium. In reality, those were fake companies. Because the computerized equipment was non-existent during the design and construction of the Blackbird, the cockpit was unsurprisingly analog. The sheer size of the aircraft was a fundamental part of the design. Matter of fact, in the 1960s, there was no computerized equipment, and all of the required gear was large, and so it needed sufficient space to fit. The unique shape combined with the materials used to coat the airframe gave the Blackbird impressively low radar signature. Without a doubt, the Blackbird was an airplane ahead of its time, and due to the lack of technology in the early 60s, the several design flaws were left unsolved. Since there was no materials at that time which would make it possible to withstand the extreme temperature differences of a normal flight of the aircraft, Lockheed ended up designing the cells in such a way that once the airplane's surface was hot enough, they would expand, sealing the leaking fuel. And the SR-71 fleet also was so expensive to maintain that the United States Air Force first tried retiring the Blackbird back in 1987. Finally, with its first official retirement in 1989, the SR-71 program was shut down. The SR-71 program was re-examined by Congress, which resulted in the renewal of the Blackbird fleet. And you'll find out that there's a lot of insight in some of the operations and secret missions that they used, and the construction and the autonomy of this aircraft and much, much more. Of course, they bought all of the titanium from Russia, but they did it by using fake companies set up by the CIA throughout the world. Are you serious? So you can find out more about actual declassified documentation on the CIA, truth about the CIA. You can find it all at my, if you go to my Patreon channel, I can really get into some more sensitive information revealed there. All right. All right. Thank you for joining my Patreon channel, and thank you for watching our YouTube videos as we try our best to help open the eyes of the blind and also lead people to the knowledge of Jesus Christ. We're in the last days. Are you serious? Sleight of hand? Soccer fields?